Weapons reign supreme. The Duffer brothers are on the move, and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, is Jake Holtzclaw, and behind the camera is Emily Keller. How are you doing, Jake, before we get into the first bit of content on our show?
Well, no, very stressed. I got a lot of irons in the fire, as I'll put it. Just got a lot of stuff going on that finally got my calendar hung on my wall, so I'm able to like pencil in my days like after work. This is like what I'm doing. This day is what I'm doing. Because before then, and like the conundrum is because I didn't have the calendar up, I couldn't like schedule when I was going to put the calendar up. Therefore, like I couldn't schedule anything else until I did that. And so, but like I couldn't find the time to put the calendar up because I couldn't schedule it.
Bro was marooned.
Like the totem pole of things I had to do, the calendar was at the bottom, but like I couldn't actively be doing everything like as adequately or optimized as I would like to without the calendar.
If you ever want to strand Jake in just a sea of non-productivity, you just remove one calendar, but it's in your line of sight. It's just in like a table that you could see, and you're like,
it was sitting on the floor below where I was going to hang it.
I can't get to that right now. But I can't plan for anything else.
Well, step one, you have to be home. But yeah, how are you, Ryan?
I'm good. We had kind of like a good weekend. It wasn't as relaxing as the weekend before, where it was just kind of like I feel like it was 2 weekends ago that was kind of relaxing. That's how my life is now. It's like, when did I have a low-key weekend last? It's like 2-3 weeks ago. So yeah, this last weekend was we were a little bit busier, but we got to celebrate. Me and Emily, actually, we hung out with one of our dear friends who had a birthday, and we went and watched a movie, which that movie's on our top 5, which we'll talk a little bit about later. But just had a good time writing the script. It's when you get like a Sunday that's open, and like I love writing these scripts because I'll go outside and sit on like my patio, like my porch, and just the sunlight, and just write and just read. And so it's fun. And so I had a good. It was calm before the storm because today is like officially the first day of the fall semester, and I mentioned it last week again. I work in higher ed, and I work with students. I'm not a professor, but I do work with students, and so they're back in full force. The kiddos are back. Where my office is in one of the buildings, it's right by like practice rooms, so I hear like music. It's really cool. Like it's very sweet because you can hear the improvement. And so
yeah, I was gonna say at the beginning of the semester it's not that sweet.
No, it is so nice though. Like it's just like you hear those kids in there, and it's just like practicing, and it's like every day. And so it's nice. Like it's something like you don't always have to have your headphones in. So it's nice.
You could say that with different tones, and it means the same. Like, yeah. You could say it sarcastically.
No, but I'm not.
Actually really nice.
But it is though, because like over the summer that the halls were so quiet because there's no one in there outside of myself and a few other faculty. So hearing like the doors open and hearing students walk and talk and laugh and the instruments being played is pretty cool. So that's go ahead.
We're polar opposites. I'm Scrooge. It's like these students are walking through the halls laughing.
How dare they use this publicly open hallway to walk by my office?
Over the summer it was quiet.
No. It was a good time today. Very productive. But yeah, that is how my day went. And I think that is going to end our little bit of small talk because we have a micro segment that we always begin our episodes with. If you're new here, we need to get like, it needs to have like game show music, like, and it needs to have like a really fun like graphic that we need to make. But it needs to be like, what are we drinking? Because we always have this little fun tidbit where, oh my gosh, we have something. Whoa, that's sick. For our audio listeners, I think Emily, because Jake is just as surprised as I am, Emily surprised us with a graphic of stick figures with our heads on them. And it's got miscellaneous cups. What are we drinking? Thank you for that. That's all. Jake, you got your red Solo cup in front of you.
Red Solo cup.
That's so good. All right, Emily, join us for our beginning segment. That is sick, Emily. Thank you for that.
I was debating on whether or not to tell you guys or surprise you with it, but I'm glad that I surprised you with
No,
it.
perfect timing because I was literally describing how we need to have one in there.
Dude,
Yes.
Ryan, why do you want a sip of mine?
I'm looking dead into your red solo cup. Alcohol.
You can't have it. You can't have it. And I'm locked in
Yeah, look
too.
at your face. That's me asking you for it, and your response. It's
Not happening.
not happening, dog. But anyway, please, if you're listening to this on Spotify, open the app and watch. Or if you're on Apple, go to Spotify or YouTube because it's such a funny image. But anyway, thank you for that, Emily. That is amazing.
You're welcome.
Our segment is at the beginning of every segment. We always talk about like what caffeinated beverage are we having tonight to get us through this podcast? Because we believe it or not, this is not our entire life. This is the thing that we do in our spare time. So, Emily, kick us off.
I am almost finished now, but I got 7 brew on the way home. There's a little bit left. And I got a 7 energy chiller, which is basically like an icy with an energy drink in it. I think it's Red Bull. And I got strawberry and mango syrup and then cream on top. And it's delicious. It's very refreshing and delicious.
Yeah,
so that's
tasty.
what I got.
Yeah, Jake.
I have a little bit of coffee in my creamer with some ice cubes that have now melted and watered it down, but it's wet.
Boy dinner.
Even better, says Jake. No, we were actually having this. I don't know why we discussed so much about what we're drinking, but we did have this discussion before we started recording. I am the exact opposite of you two because I like black coffee, I like black tea, and I've struck again. It's just black tea, just normal, regular, nothing in it. I had it foo-fooed up last week, but we're back to regularly scheduled programming this week. It's just throw it in my electric kettle, throw it in my cup, put the tea bag in there and eat and go to town after it steeps. So yeah.
Boy dinner part 2.
Yeah. And that has been our micro segment of What Are We Drinking? Thank you for joining us, Emily. Thank you for that amazing graphic again. It is hilarious. And I have a feeling we'll be seeing you again before we end our first segment. So stay on the line. Anyway, with that, I think that is a great transition into our box office. We always go over in our first segment the latest hits from this past weekend at the box office. We go over the numbers and tell you what won, what lost, and what caught our eye. So this week, Weapons finished first, followed by Freakier Friday, Nobody 2 in its debut, then Fantastic Four is, well, fourth, and The Bad Guys 2 finished fifth. So we're going to go back to the top and give you a bit of a deeper dive into these numbers. Going on, we'll start with Weapons. This is a second consecutive week as the number one movie at the box office. Zach Cregger's Weapons earned another $25 million. This film cost $38 million to produce. In its second weekend, it made almost back what it cost to produce alone. The film has earned $89 million domestically and $148.8 million globally. So much deserved. This is a Warner Brothers feature, if I remember correctly. They've won. If I remember correctly, again, last week we talked about this being the 7th straight this year. If they've released a film, it's gone number one and had some staying power. Jake, why do we think Weapons has found this staying power?
I couldn't tell you other than like what I said last week, where it was just the overall mystery of the marketing and around the movie. Like you don't know why. Like even I remember getting a lot of the marketing of the kids leaving at like 2 a.m. like running, and that was it. That's all you got, and it was just like, why? Like, and I think that it was once it got out that there's not it's not necessarily a horror as much as it's kind of a thriller, but it's a story, right? So, because I was under the impression it was a horror, and then I heard that it wasn't, and it was good, and like 98% like Rotten Tomatoes at one time.
Yeah.
It's been picked up by 248 theaters like this week. So
crazy.
I mean, it's a little less than Freakier Friday, but it's still like, whereas Freakier Friday has almost 4,000 theaters. Weapons has 3,450, but to gain 250 theaters, it's like, I don't know why though. I don't know why it's at the very top. Like I wouldn't have thought that, and our predictions didn't reflect that either.
Yeah, I really would have thought, because heading into this weekend, Nobody 2 was tracking well with test audiences, with critics. Like, people were calling it a great, if not one of the best action movies of this year, but a great sequel. I would have put money on Nobody finishing first, and it just didn't. It didn't even finish second, as we saw in our graphic. So I feel like, yes, again, to your point from last week, it has to be some of the mystery. I've seen some pushback from fans. There's kind of a divisive nature around it. While it's still highly rated, I've seen some people online say that they think it sucks, that they did not really enjoy it. It wasn't what they thought it was. Ultimately, though, I feel like we're kind of getting around. The longest time people were complaining about nothing's original anymore. And now this year we've seen more originals surface to the top, like Sinners and now Weapons, both ironically Warner Brothers. Their holding power has been insane. And I feel like that's kind of where we're getting, is like we're finally coming around the curve where the talk is finally leading to some action, to where people are actually going out to talk about and watch these films that are new. But also, too, something else to think about as well, and it has this in line with Sinners too, they have characters that people want to see more of or that they connect with. Not only is it cool advertising, not only is word of mouth doing well, but for like Sinners, it was the brothers, it was the twins. Like, people want a prequel, seeing what they did.
Steinfeld.
Yeah, what they did in Chicago. Yeah, they want a prequel for Steinfeld's character. They want a prequel for the Native American vampire hunters. Sorry, a little bit of a spoiler if you haven't seen Sinners. Not really sorry, but you know what I mean. Like, there are these characters and there are these really cool things that they're not just random. They fit the story, but they don't give away too much, so you want to see more of it. And I feel like Weapons probably falls into that, i.e. the reason I say that, and we've not seen it, but Aunt Gladys, who everyone's seen her online, whether you've seen it or not. She's the freaky-looking redheaded lady, like older. I think she's got braces. People want a spinoff of her, and the rumor has it that Craigers is working on a spinoff movie or a series about her. And she's got some influence on the story. So it's just like, I think it's a combination of good advertising, because the advertising was insane, the mystery, like everything you talked about. But on top of it, it's an original story, and I think we're finally seeing some action to the complaints that we've seen for the last decade. On top of, it's got these interesting characters that people want to talk about and go see. Because I had no idea Aunt Gladys existed, and now I'm telling you, she's going to be a reason why I'm going to go see it. Because I'm like, what's the hubbub? Like, why are we talking about her?
Which we've been saying like almost a year now, just on this podcast, that we want more original. And how long does it take to shoot a movie and get it out? I mean, it's almost a year usually. So
yeah,
this might be why we're seeing the renaissance of like new original or based off of books and ideas that we've not heard of yet, besides their paper piece. So but it raises a question, Warner Bros. Being like, I don't think we'll be able to know until the end of the year, but I think they're probably going to be the ones that come out on top this year.
I would imagine. Well, I think Disney will probably still earn the most, because Lilo and Stitch is still $1 billion film, right? Like, and then they've had two films that they considered flops, but when you add them together, that's another $1 billion, and that's Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, right? But no, and Captain America.
Quality cinema with most top ones. What you think they would get that one?
Probably, yeah. I'd say that they would be considered the winners of this year if things hold the pat for the rest of the year, because there's still a third of the year to go. But if things hold the pat for Warner Brothers and say they get one more really good film, seven number one releases are, I mean, they probably got it anyway. But if they come out with one really bad film to end the year, they're going to lose that title. So I probably would agree with you, though, that as of right now, yeah, Warner Brothers would win in terms of quality, and they needed a year like this. They've raked in a lot of money. It's just, you can't say they've done more than Disney. And now who knows what Disney spent, but anyway, an interesting point to look at here when we're on the topic of originality. 3 of the top 5 are either originals now or are sequel to originals from this decade. So Nobody 2 and Bad Guys 2, while sequels, their original came out this decade. So those are still technically like original franchises, because they're not legacy. They're not old. Like, these are just sequels to successful originals. So, and people could probably pick on that and say, oh, no, it's a sequel, which you'd technically be right. But I just think it's interesting that these Nobody 2 and Bad Guys 2 with Weapons, they're all newer. They are more original stories. Whereas Fantastic Four and Freaky Friday are, one is literally Marvel and the other is a 25-year-old, straight from TV nostalgia trip. So anyway.
Would you like to know the list of Warner Bros. Upcoming releases? Just really quick, rattle them off.
Yeah, hit it.
The Conjuring, Last Rites.
Okay.
That's coming out very soon.
Okay.
The Long Walk.
Okay.
One Battle After Another, which is a Leonardo DiCaprio one.
Ah, yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2, Cat in a Hat, um, Wuthering Heights with Margot Robbie in it and Jacob Elord. No, that's 2026. Sorry, my fault. That's it. But like, there's 5 more, ending with Mortal Kombat 2 to come out that are big names that we've heard of already.
Yeah, they've got decent names behind them, and I in particular, like The Conjuring 2, I think will hit really well. Now, will any of those be number one? We can't promise. We'll predict it when they come out, but like
Right.
we can't promise. But like I think The Conjuring and The Cat in the Hat, those are two that they hit the right audiences for that running. One Day After Another, that's a Paul Thomas Anderson film with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think it's going to pull numbers in terms of like, not everyone's going to go out and see that because that's more of like
It's almost 3 hours long.
that's more of like in our line of thinking of like, oh yeah, we're going to go see this because it's Paul Thomas Anderson and Leonardo DiCaprio. Of course we're going to go see that. But like the average Joe's not going to, but that's still going to be a good film.
I think The Long Walk holds some merit. I've been seeing some talks on it.
Stephen King adaptation with Mark Hamill.
With Mark Hamill like being one of the main. I don't know if he's an antagonist per se, but he's like leading the negativity, I guess, of the movie, being the face of it. So I've been seeing talks about people like, if you had the chance to do it, you walking. And like some people are like, heck yeah, and then all the comments are like, y'all ain't lasting more than a day.
No. I will say this to bring it back to weapons and Warner Brothers. For the year Warner Brothers has had, and we'll talk a little bit more about this because later this week they have a second season for a show that's being highly rated right now. For the year Warner Brothers has had in terms of splitting with Discovery, Zaslav and his own board of directors saying he's not worth his high pay, which he wasn't. Spoiler alert. What a year for them. Despite everything, they've still had a lot of success. And it starts with a Minecraft movie being $1 billion film, 6 other #1 films, 5 good films to end the year on top of DC and Superman and their series. So good for them. That's all I'll say.
I've always loved like HBO Max. Like that has been my top pick for a streaming service. And regardless of how it's ran and managed, I always thought that I could hit that streaming platform on Roku and just find something.
The best show of this year is The Pit, and it doesn't come close, and it's an HBO Max original. Like it's right now, new to this year show that has come out has to be The Pit. And that I'm very biased, but anyway, we'll get off of Warner Bros.
Time will tell with the awards.
Yeah. We'll move on down the line because we did get a little off topic here. Weapons, again, distributed by Warner Brothers, so it's on par. But so finishing second is Freakier Friday, again, Disney's legacy sequel to the straight-to-TV movie with Lindsay Lohan and I forget her name now, but she was in Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis. Earned $14.5 million in its second weekend in theaters, earning again a second consecutive second place finish at the box office. The film has earned $54.8 million domestically and $86.3 million globally. In a year where anything outside of Lilo and Stitch has been rough for the House of Mouse, Freakier Friday, nearly doubling its $45 million production budget in its first 2 weeks, must feel amazing for them. Going down the line, Nobody 2 finishes third in the box office in its debut as Universal's sequel starring Bob Odenkirk, earns $9.25 million in its opening, pulling in $14.2 million globally. And while this does match the original's opening, it's not that great when you take into account that the original released while COVID was happening, and the film goes to VOD in 3 weeks, which is crazy. A short turnaround for a film that should make back its earning. The film cost $25 million to make. It's made 14, and it's got 3 weeks to make it. It will probably get out of the red, but it won't get in the green. Which, again, nuts for a film like Nobody 2, as well received as it has been, as we talked about earlier. Finishing fourth is Fantastic Four: First Steps, which, again, is ironic and funny, haha. But Marvel's First Family earns $8.8 million domestically. The film has pulled $247 million total domestically and $468.7 million globally. The latest MCU release is doing everything it can to reach the $500 million mark, a mark that was almost promised from the get with how well it was opened. But since then, it's fallen a lot, as you've heard, and it might fall just short. Again, 468.7 million globally. Emily, we watched this again, as I said at the top. Hop on in if you feel comfortable and let us know your thoughts, because you felt very strongly about Fantastic Four First Steps.
I did. I was quite disappointed. I FaceTimed my sister afterward to rant to her honestly, because the biggest issue on my part was definitely the acting, just because I've been in theater for like literally over a decade, and this is something that I'm very, very, very passionate about. Because none of the actors were bad, but it's as if they were all playing different characters in a different movie with a different plot, and they did not know each other. And for theater people out there, you're gonna know what I'm talking about when I say the dynamic between all of the characters was like your first time running through the show with your blocking.
Yeah.
And everyone knows the lines, but they don't know their character very well. They don't know how they like the relationship between the other characters. It kind of feels awkward. The movement feels awkward, but they're just saying their lines, but it's not like they're in character or they know how to play off of the other one. They also, one of the biggest faults that I've noticed is that they never, like, the music never really stopped. And so there were no moments of like stillness. So you couldn't really like rest. And so even the jokes that they did have, because they did try to write jokes into the script, they can't really land if there's not really silent and you're like, was that a joke?
Yeah.
And like you couldn't tell. And then the biggest issue, those are the two largest supporting issues, but the biggest issue for me personally, other than honestly like you guys said, the trailer kind of gave it all the way, and that the plot was kind of odd. And then like you said, Ryan, that the title was somewhat misleading because you're thinking First Steps as if like it's like how they became the Fantastic Four, not that there was a baby involved, which of course if you watch a trailer you'd understand. But the biggest issue for me is how fast each shot and scene were, that the jokes that were made, the conversations that happened, the scenes that they had, the situations that they had were so fast that you could not catch up. And that's what those moments of silence are for in action movies and superhero films, where you're like, okay, and you can catch up. And that's usually when a dry bit comes in, like a piece of dry humor comes in, right? But no, it's like, all right, time for breakfast. But it's sitting down at breakfast. Oop, now it's another scene. All right, guys, it's time for dinner. Oh my gosh, you're pregnant. Boop, another scene. It's like, what is going on? And like they try to make those jokes. None of the jokes landed. It felt awkward between each character. And it's like, the thing that made me so mad is like the camera never sat on a character's face. Like it never stayed on a character's face for longer than 3 seconds at a time. I couldn't even tell who was talking, much less tell a joke. I'm like, hang on, hold still. And it would not hold still. That paired with constant music. There was never a break. I was so overstimulated within the first 10 minutes that my brain kind of just gave up. I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try to understand what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the whole beginning of the movie that they use as a setup. And I understand in superhero movies where it has to be a quick setup because you're working toward the climax of the film. The whole setup did not grow the characters or the plot or the story. It did no growth whatsoever. And if you're going to spend that much time and you're going to make that short to build up to the climax, and the climax better be worth it, but it wasn't. That was such a short, tiny climax, and did not feel worth like the build up. That wasn't really any growth of a build up either. So
yeah,
it was poorly directed. The shots, the quickness of the shots, the constant music, the characters felt like they really did not know each other. They didn't have a relationship. I couldn't even get a feeling at how they vibe with each other or liked each other, because the shots were so fast and the scenes were so fast and they did no growth or build up. I can't say anything about the short film that we were a part of, but it's like the film itself was like a very short film, but it's like with what we had, we did more growth at the beginning so we could get attached to the characters than the Fantastic Four did in the entire movie. And I never felt connected to the characters. I didn't really care what happened to the characters, or in the end, if one of them was injured or one of them was not. I didn't really care because you never really built it up. I never got attached. They didn't get attached to each other. It's like they didn't know each other. The whole thing was so emotionally detached and distant, and it was so overstimulating, and there was no foundation to build on. It was just kind of all surface level.
Yeah. I do think it moves way too quick, and it felt like because for me it's like it was this close, like it's so close to being something so cool because they had the beats, they just breezed by them instead of taking the time to actually flesh them out. I felt like the Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm connection was pretty cool. Johnny Storm, and my favorite character was Ben, but Johnny was literally the best character in that whole film. They're just, again, relationships, like you had said, they didn't really allow it. I will say, I feel like they breezed through the whole family. Like, obviously, the family dynamic's the big thing, but like they felt like the audience would know the backstory, so they did kind of what Superman did. But the thing is, Superman took time to develop after that. They were like, okay, you know this. Here's the new story. Whereas Marvel didn't. It didn't feel like they did that. It felt like they said, okay, yeah, you know how they started, but now we need to get to the end. And my biggest critique, outside of everything you said, because we talked a lot about this too, out of like before we were recording, it's mainly one. If you watch the trailer, as you had said, you've seen the whole film. They gave away way too much in the trailers. Again, as you had pointed out, I feel like the title is misleading. I don't feel like it's First Steps at all. Again, I know it's a play on baby, but also it's like when you read it, because they tried to hide it at first that Franklin Richards was going to be a thing, it makes it sound like it's an origin story. And so even after you realize it is like for Franklin, you still kind of go in like, okay, like this is more origin, and it's not. So I felt like First Steps was kind of a misleading and just maybe not misleading, just inaccurate title. But for me, it really was that like they just did not take the time to actually enjoy moments, and I felt like they gave away way too much. So like my biggest critique, personally, the biggest thing that bothers me, Galactus, you've seen him all. Like if you've seen more than one trailer or you've seen the big trailer, you've seen almost every moment he's in. That's it. That's it.
We're editing for this is TikTok editing here to capture the younger audiences with a shorter attention span.
Yeah.
Sounding like
and
music, constant music, and fast edits is what it sounds like.
I really feel like
that's exactly what I said. It felt like we were catering to people with no attention spans because it was like, come on, pay attention. Here's music and constant shot to shot to shot to shot. I'm like, calm down. Like you said, Ryan, they didn't enjoy any moment.
No,
I have time on my phone, Emily. Jeez.
I really feel like it was because there was an enforced time limit. They had to be under 2 hours, and so they had to cut things. They had to be quick. So that's the biggest problem, and it's sad because again, like you asked me my rating, and I'm going to give it here 2.8 out of 5. 3 is a good movie. 2.5 is average, right? Like you don't know if you'd see it again, but whatever. It's closer to the good. I didn't have a terrible time. Dude, Joseph Quinn is awesome. I loved his Johnny Storm. But it's just not, it's not good. It's not a definitively good movie, but it's close. It just, if they would have taken the time to actually enjoy the moments, it would have been probably closer to great. But it's just not. And that's just unfortunate.
There were so many things that I would have cut out if I was a director and like, we only have so much time. I would have chosen to cut out some other pieces just so we could like stretch out those moments where you could get to know the characters a little more. Because if you don't have emotional attachment to the characters, I'll die on this hill. You don't care about anything else that happens in the rest of the movie. You have to be emotionally attached, and I wasn't. Like there was nothing was fleshed out.
No. My biggest critique, people will say, well, there were just too many characters. You had 4 characters, and like in the Fantastic Four, look at Superman.
Dude, wait for Doomsday.
All I'm saying, Superman had just as many characters. It had the same idea where, you know the backstory. We'll breeze you through it. And they did it great. Superman did not have these problems. So it is not a superhero thing. It's a Marvel thing.
Yes.
So
I appreciate them casting everyone who's like, everyone was very talented. None of them had chemistry. Ben and Johnny had the closest chemistry, and even then it still felt a little awkward. No one had chemistry. They all play their characters. What?
They're buddies outside of the film.
Ebon Moss. What's his last name? Backrack. Is that how you say his name? Backrack?
Sorry, I interrupted you, but like.
You're okay. I don't. It's a weird last name. No offense. It's different.
Yeah.
But yes, but Joseph it's like. Quinn. Obviously, I'm going to say this isn't a spoiler. Obviously, if you've seen the trailer, you know it, that she gets pregnant, and so when they go. When he goes,
what? How does that happen?
She goes, yeah. And then Johnny's like, oh my gosh, yeah. And then Pedro's like,
at the very beginning, like, yeah, that was kind of cringy.
And Ben's like, And it's like they all had different reactions to it, and none of them mixed. It's like none of them cared. And the thing that happened in the end is like no one cared. Like everyone had the weirdest reactions.
Yeah. No, I
There
don't
was
know.
no chemistry. There was no chemistry between anybody. None of it made sense. It felt so awkward. Oh my gosh. That's it. I gave it a 2.5 out of 10 because 2.5 stars out of 5 stars because it was just so underwhelming and overwhelming at the same exact time.
Yeah.
That concludes my participation in this segment.
Thank you, Emily. I think she's exactly right. We're not too far off. I've given my point. Jake, I'd love for you to see it because I'd love to hear your opinion on it too.
Sounds like I don't wanna.
Yeah. Well, it's not like that's the
I could
thing.
just watch the trailer.
It is worth one watch. It is worth one because there are moments that are good, but it's not something that you leave thinking, man, I want to watch that again. Like I watched Superman twice.
My sister had the same reaction that Jake just had, and I'm like, even if it's just as a hate watch, so you could just like critique it, it's good for that with friends. I recommend it. If nothing else, I recommend it as such.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say something. Darn it. Okay, that's okay.
No, so
What Emily said was better, but
let that marinate because I want to say the last bit of our top 5 because believe it or not, Fantastic Four is not the end of our box office.
it's
4.
Believe it, it's fantastically 4.
Whoa. Anyway.
Say that again.
Oh, say that again.
Oh my
Bad Guys 2 finishes 5th, rounding out our top 5 from DreamWorks. It's in its 3rd weekend in theaters, pulled in $7.5 million domestically, raising its overall earnings to $57.2 domestically and $117.4 million globally. So, not bad, not bad. Good for them because this film didn't cost that much to produce. Looking at the rest of the box office, Jake, is there anything else that caught your eye before we get on to predictions?
I mean, I saw some films. So Shin Godzilla got a re-release from G Kids, which was a little odd. And then there's some Cooley. I can't even pronounce the distributor, man.
Oh, who are you
And
from?
War 2, which is also so 2 foreign distributors, and then you got G Kids, which is also technically a foreign distributor. Those are 10, 11, 12. Like they're cracking like top 15 and into the top 10, and only 800 theaters hosting Cooley. F1 still holding top 10. Jurassic World still up there, still raking in like excess of 2 million. The Naked Gun holding 7th, and then Superman at 6. So I'm not seeing anything crazy, but we definitely have a weekend coming up that has some somewhat notable titles, if not actors and actresses, coming out. So I would argue that there's actually 4 big ones, and one we may not have actually heard of that caught my eye. It was like, oh, hold on, somebody's acting in that, and that's would you like me to go through them? Right?
Go ahead. Yeah, no, this is a great transition. Go ahead.
IMDb's got upcoming releases with the anticipated Honey Don't, with Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans, and Lara Abova. This is the detective with Margaret Qualley leading on it, and I believe Aubrey Plaza is heavily involved, and then Chris Evans is the antagonist, which he always does. I don't know how to describe his antagonists, but like Knives Out, like him in that, and then he did another one, but I can't remember it.
It's like typical. So like it's Scott Pilgrim and Knives Out, but he's a cult leader.
Deadpool, and he was kind of like the same vibe as Johnny Storm in Deadpool. Like he gave that like I don't care attitude.
Yeah.
And he wasn't necessarily an antagonist, but it was Chris Evans when he just gets. I feel like that's the closest you can get to real Chris Evans. Is when he's an antagonist in a film. And not to say he's a bad guy, but anyway,
If he's
moving
not,
on.
if he is not Captain America, he's been the same character. If you look at
feel like-
Johnny Storm, Scott Pilgrim, this Knives Out.
I feel like he's played in a few like rom-coms that I think he's probably not like the antagonists that he's played. But
Yeah.
moving down the line, Eden, starring Jude Law, Anna de Armas, Vanessa Kirby, and Daniel Bruhl, I believe. Which that was Zemo from Civil War.
Yep.
So and then Sydney Sweeney's also in that one. So Eden, which was a 2024 movie, but it's being released this year. It's a thriller. So I heard a little bit about it, and then I kind of radio silence. And then one I actually haven't heard of is Relay, which is also a 2024 film coming out in 2025, and it's got Riz Ahmed, which is the you'll remember him from Nightcrawler. He was Jake Gyllenhaal's right. No, am I right?
Sorry. Say that one more time.
Nightcrawler.
Yes,
No.
yes, yes.
Jake?
He was. Yeah. Hold on, let me look it up.
Okay.
Sorry.
Jake Gyllenhaal, and then Riz Ahmed, which is the guy who helps him film
Yes.
towards the end of the movie. And then Lily James from Baby Driver, she was a love interest of Baby Driver. And then Sam Worthington, which Ryan, fill me in on what he's done.
He is Avatar. He's
Yeah, Jake Sully.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Terminator, Clash of Titans actor there. So big names on this film that I have not heard of, like Relay.
Yeah.
Haven't heard a word. But maybe that's wrong for you, Paige. And then Splitsville, which we actually showed a trailer for a few weeks ago, kind of about a throuple situation that turns bad. I guess it's a comedy. So comedy, crime, mystery, Honey Don't. Eden is a thriller, Relay action thriller, and Splitsville comedy. There's also Lurker, Dongji Rescue, and Lily Lives Alone, all crime, drama, thriller, action, horror kind of deals. But the first four are the main ones. And Ryan, if you take away predictions.
So I don't mean to just be on the same wavelength as you, but the way that I went about it. Sorry, say that again.
I think it's a safe wavelength to be on.
No, well, the way that I went about it was because there are so many releases. But the problem is that there's only one that I feel like will actually get traction because it's actually had some mainstream. Like I see the trailers for it in theaters. I did not see Eden in theaters. I did not see Relay. I did not see Splitsville, but I saw Honey Don't. So I'm going to say that the average moviegoer and those who are interested in film like this, they want to go see Honey Don't because it's a comedy with Chris Evans and Margaret Qualley, right? And Aubrey Plaza. Eden, despite having Jude Law and Ana de Armas, I don't think it's going to pull in enough. Sydney Sweeney was just in a film, Americana, that finished like 16th. It did terrible. Yeah. One of the worst openings. If I remember from Screen Rant, they said this was one of the worst openings for a major film in decades.
Where's it at now?
16 or 18. This is his opening. It did awful.
I don't even see it.
It's on here somewhere. Oh, well, maybe not. It only made like 500,000. It should be on here.
Americana?
Yeah, it's not on here. They might have pulled it. That's crazy.
No.
Yeah.
So Americana 2023 film.
It's not.
I remember this. Did this come out?
One definitely did come out. It just didn't do well this weekend. But so the way that I went about it the same way I went last time. I just don't think there's enough, even with these releases. And again, this is it's all a shot in the dark because who knows what's going to take off. I don't think Eden, Relay, or Splitsville, although Splitsville would be the one that I would choose out of those three that could upset me. Like in terms of not upset me as in make me frustrated. I mean like upset my prediction. It would be Splitsville because again, Chris Evans, or not Chris Evans, but Dakota Johnson and that whole comedy rom-com thing. That one could be one to throw and topple my prediction. But I'm just moving everything down. I'm going Honey Don't, then Weapons, Freakier Friday, Nobody 2, and Fantastic Four. I'm going to say that the top four this week will hold pat because I don't think there's not one outside of Honey Don't that will get enough attention to draw away from those that are already getting good word of mouth advertising and that are already kind of on a hot streak. The first two of this week, which is Weapons and Freakier Friday, they're only going into their third weekend, so they're still going to get a lot of traction. And I feel like Nobody 2 going into its second weekend is fine, and a Marvel movie will always hold pat. So I think I think I'm fairly confident with this. Again, I'm confident it could be 0 correct, but I'm going to be confident with this. And again, I say that to justify why I went this way, because our first 3 are the exact same, and I did not mean for it to be that way. But that's just how they fell.
Well, like I said, it's safe, right? You're safe to assume that Honey Don't is gonna beat out something that will be going into its 3rd week.
Yeah.
Especially a thriller. It's not a kids movie. It's not like a DC or MCU level movie. This is a thriller that has done surprisingly well for reasons that we have no idea, can only speculate. But I wanted to give Eden and Splitsville a chance, and as like upset picks for my 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Because I think the top 3 are the easier to get, and I was like, well, I've heard of both.
Yeah.
I have not heard of Relay, and I also agree with you that probably won't have a very good opening.
Yeah, and to go back from this past week, because we meant to talk about it at the jump, and we got caught up in our micro segment. We skipped over it. Last week, Jake predicted Nobody 2, Americana, as Weapons, Freakier Friday, and then Bad Guys 2. He got Bad Guys 2 correct. And then I predicted Nobody 2, Weapons, Freakier Friday, Fantastic Four, and the Bad Guys 2. And I got the final 2 correct. I got Fantastic Four as the 4th, and the Bad Guys 2 as 5th. So
we put a lot on Nobody 2, man.
We did, and it did not succeed. I
really thought it was going to do well, because Bob Odenkirk talked that up. I heard everybody saying it was like
good.
Like you had said, the best action film of the year. Like, I really believed it. I was like, sure. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And I completely nosedive, man.
I'm happy with my prediction only in the sense of, if I had put Nobody 2 3rd, I would have been completely correct. I had the top 5. I just had them out of order, and which is not something you could say every week. It's so next week that's not happening. But I'll take my win this week.
One day, somebody's gonna get them all right.
God forbid I get them all right before anyone else in this call. I will be the most insufferable. I knew it. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna make a graphic after that happens.
Anyway, I think that's a great point to end our extended first segment. So, coming up after the break, the Duffer Brothers to exit Netflix, and Alan Tudyk talks iRobot. Coming up after the break. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You made it to segment 2, which is major news. We'll have 4 major discussion points to talk to you about this week. Then we'll follow it with trailers and what you should know before you go. But first, our first 2 of our major topics. New look Paramount snags the Duffer Brothers from Netflix a new exclusive deal. According to Variety, the sibling dynamic creative duo behind the first ever Netflix original hit series Stranger Things is in, quote, advanced discussions with Paramount to create executive film and television series at the legacy brand, an emphasis put on theatrical releases, a detail of which Netflix wouldn't allow. And that is why, according to Variety, the Duffers are very interested in Paramount. An interesting note that most definitely is helping with Paramount landing the 2 comes in the form of new chair of direct-to-consumer, Cindy Holland, who worked for Netflix for 18 years, including 9 of which she was vice president of original content. That was according to Deadline. Holland originally greenlit Stranger Things at Netflix a decade ago. Now the trio are seemingly headed for a reunion at the new look Paramount. Even if the Duffer Brothers do in fact start a business relationship with Paramount, that doesn't mean that they will be done with Netflix. As Variety explains, the brothers' production company, Upside Down Pictures, still has a plethora of series and other projects already in the works or finished at Netflix, including a couple of already finished, as I just said, shows set to release next year, an animated Stranger Things prequel series, and an unannounced live-action Stranger Things spinoffs that the pair are expected to run and maintain. While loyalty in the present looks a lot different than it did a handful of decades ago, are we shocked that the Duffers are exiting the production house that in many ways gave them their career?
Am I shocked? No. I mean, if they want to do movies and be in theaters, like Netflix is not the company to do it for. I mean, we've seen that time and time again. I hope that they are able to achieve their goals. I'm unaware of what they've done in the past in terms of movies. I figured it was all TV, which now that I'm looking at Matt Duffer's history, it is mostly shorts and TV series.
Yeah.
So I I wish them best because I just haven't seen anything out of them movie wise. I'm still scrolling down through here and there's nada.
So what's interesting today is, and now my opinion on this, I'm more shocked that Netflix didn't do more to keep them.
Right.
That's an in-house, like, homegrown duo that is now universally recognized as a creative force.
Which, well, arguably, in Netflix's standpoint, is like, what else have they done besides Stranger Things? Like, okay, yeah, you can argue that they're going to do something really good later, maybe,
Yeah.
or we've seen one-hit wonders before.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're Netflix, it is somewhat a gamble. You have to like judge your assets like outside of the Duffer brothers and be like, is it worth keeping them? Even like they don't have a lot to show in terms of like maybe Wayward Pines, which got like 7 out of 10 stars. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. But like Stranger Things is their only thing, pretty much.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk. I decided to separate the two because we have two Paramount stories, but I didn't want to have a whole segment just dedicated to Paramount. I wanted to split them up, and we'll talk later about how Paramount is putting a lot of emphasis on borrowed, on things that are already established, less of that original concept we were talking about. And what I'm emphasizing here is Cindy Holland is bringing in a team that she brought in at Netflix. That, again, as you're saying, hasn't done anything outside of Stranger Things. If this doesn't show you exactly what you said, Netflix counted the eggs in their basket and they said the Duffers are not worth like full-blown creative freedom and theatrical releases. And I tell you why as an example. Today, Netflix announced that Guillermo del Toro's Oscar Isaac starring Frankenstein film going to theaters.
Wow. So they even have the ability and have and want to send something to the theaters and still said,
We're not. Yeah. They just 10 hours ago from Polygon and 8 hours ago from The Hollywood Reporter, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is getting a theatrical release after all.
Which, I mean, like I said, to be fair, given the track record, they have not done a theatrical, or at least Matt. I can switch over to, get the other Ross, and check his IMDb to see if they've ever done anything separate of each other. But it's looking like no.
Their careers, they had a good idea with Stranger Things. And now I'm not going to undersell Stranger Things because Stranger Things is it is one of the best original concepts of this decade, or not this decade, this century, sorry. And you got to think too, it's getting all these spin-offs, it's gotten the books. I see ads on Netflix, obviously, but I see ads for their prequel play that they have on Broadway right now that's winning all sorts of Tonys. Or
it's a massive
awards anyway. So
you could go so many routes with
yeah.
like you could just go off on a tangent on the Russians.
Yeah.
From this series and completely new characters just on the Russian front. Like what in the heck were they doing? Like
yeah.
So I'm just thinking feature length theatrical releases. There's nothing to back it up. And so the safe option is to hunker down and choose one that like Del Toro can perform, can do theatrical releases. These guys are just not just, but they're TV series guys. And so I wish them the best of luck, and I know they're going to do great things. I'm almost positive of it because I'm hopeful. But if I was a business like oriented, or if I was a business, oftentimes you have to have the prior proof. You have to show that it's going to work or that you've succeeded in the past. And it's just like, you're not going to get the job if you don't have 3 years of experience like this guy does, right?
Yeah. So I have a follow-up question for you then, Jake, because I'd love to get your opinion. Is this more of a gamble from Paramount than what a lot of people are giving it credit for?
So it's a different approach, I would say, from sorry, remind me the lady. I'm trying to find it in your
Cindy
Cindy.
Holland.
So Cindy Holland, I think it's somewhat of a gamble and a plan because she was at Netflix and probably was heavily involved in the Duffer Brothers and knows them and knows their ideas, or at the very least they've in passing probably have spoken and know that they're capable of new concepts. Um, and so if it matches, so I'm not sure if she's making the decisions for Paramount like wholeheartedly, probably not, to be like the borrowed content. That is a business strategy from Paramount in the sense that like, let's profitize off of IPs that are already founded and have a foundation we
Yeah.
can build on. They're betting on the fact that they can foster growth with established IPs rather than creating new, which I
Yeah.
mean, sure, fine. Like that's a business model. You can do that, or you can focus on like purely original, new things every single time.
Yeah.
Either or, but I think that's just the other side of it. It's like you could either be Netflix or Warner Brothers, or or
Yeah.
you can take the Paramount approach and say we'll take the IPs and we'll create new,
Yeah.
and eventually they'll fizzle out and maybe we'll sell them or something. I don't know.
Now,
I don't know what the end goal of that business model is, because you can't really keep an IP going forever.
I
There will be staleness.
I want to I want to make sure this is clear here. They're not getting Stranger Things from Netflix. They're just getting the
Right.
brothers. Yeah, yeah. So they're just
Right.
getting the brothers. The reason that I made the connection between other things you'll hear later about Paramount focusing on well-established IPs and the Duffers is because they're safe. And Cindy Holland, as you had just talked about, she greenlit Stranger Things at Netflix before she left. She's the one who brought in the Duffers to Netflix. So she's bringing them back, and it's a safe approach, much in the same way that it's safe for Paramount to go with. We'll talk about, again, I don't want to give away, but to talk about the IPs that they are emphasizing now, especially now that Skydance and David Ellison own it. So that's the connection. Not that they're getting Stranger Things in that IP, but they're getting, again, something safe. That seems to be the big thing that's happening.
Which I thought that Stranger Things, it's over, right? Season 5's it. I think
In
season
this
5.
story, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It,
So,
yeah,
and even with season 5, you got the main antagonist coming back from season 4, so it's on its last legs. I mean,
yeah. They're
uh,
finishing it. Yeah,
I figure, and they should, rightfully so. Season 5 and the kids have kind of like aged out of it already anyway.
yeah.
That's what most of the jokes I'm seeing are, is just the kids don't look like kids anymore because it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I think, right? Almost 10 years now.
It's been, if not almost right at 10 years. Yeah.
So, one last thing about Paramount, with it makes me wonder how they're doing not making the risky decisions, if that makes sense. Like if you have enough confidence and money, or you trust yourself that you have enough to get yourself out of the hole if something doesn't work out,
Yeah.
taking the conservative approach leads me to believe that they're not as secure or sound in their businesses, or in their IPs, or all of their assets, that they think they can make money. Because in my mind, like I know that Netflix is big, Disney Plus is big, and HBO is big,
Yeah.
and Paramount falls below those top three.
For sure.
And arguably, I'm not sure what their viewership or subscription rate looks like, but in my top three, Paramount's not included. Neither is Hulu.
No, no. And so here's the thing. This is something a question I have, and this will be answered later. So I want us to try to remember this point when we're talking about what they emphasized as their most important like IPs and what they're going to focus on. If the last like shareholders in the last ownership group could not make those IPs work,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, you could say it's a leadership thing. You could say it's a creative thing, and you just needed new creators. And that's always something you need. Fresh eyes. You need new stories. Yes, but I'm gonna leave it there because there's a lot more I can get into. But that's in the next segment. Before that, we have one more story in segment 2, and that comes from something that you've probably seen online if you're in the media sphere, you will know that Alan Tudyk talked about his time on iRobot, and he claims his name was removed from the marketing materials because he was outperforming Will Smith with test audiences. Oosh. While appearing on an episode of Tuned In with Jim Cummings, if you don't know who Jim Cummings is, he's the voice of Winnie the Pooh. He's legendary. One of the guys that helped make animation the way it is now. He hosts a podcast and a YouTube channel, and he had Alan Tudyk as they were discussing their illustrious career as a guest. The conversation moved to his portrayal of Sonny, the sentient robot featured at the center of the Will Smith starring narrative that very much so hits home in modern times, and how nobody seems to remember or know that Tudyk even played the central character. According to Deadline, Tudyk describes, quote, "They were doing test audiences with the movie and they score the characters and I got word back. Alan, you're testing higher than Will Smith. And then I was gone. I was gone. There was no publicity and my name was not mentioned." Tudyk would go on to explain how he was devastated to know that he was essentially being erased from the film's history, a portrayal of which, in his, at the time, young career, could have changed the trajectory of his life. Tudyk not only voiced Sonny, but he mocapped it. So he was physically acting. If you've ever seen iRobot, which, Jake, have you seen iRobot?
I have.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The fact that I thought it was all CGI, the fact that he mocapped this character in the robotic nature, he acted that character. All of it removed. He said, quote, "At the time, I was very upset." And all these quotes are coming from Deadline. iRobot was adapted from the Isaac Asimov book of the same name with an IMDb synopsis of, quote, "In 2035, a technophobic cop investigates a crime that may have been perpetrated by a robot, which leads to a larger threat to humanity." Jake really likes the term technophobic. I figured he'd find it funny.
As many people call him clankers now.
Yeah, the meme running around.
Jeez.
The film, here's the big thing. This is the biggest thing. So not only was he testing high with audiences and they were rating him higher than Will Smith, not only was his career young, this is the part that gets me, and this is why I if I were in his shoes, I would be in tears. The film was nominated in the 2005 Oscars for Best Visual Effects, of which majority of would have been his motion capture.
Yeah.
It lost out to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. That is the only thing. No, well, think about it. Like,
yeah,
that's the only reason that film lost.
That Venom?
No, that's Doc Ock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I would be, if you go and watch the interview, he is so graceful about it because at the end of the day, he's had a great career when you look back. Like, Tudyk comes from, he did Rogue One. He's in Superman as his bots. He Resident Alien. He is King Candy in.
I remember him from. It was a Star Trek show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's in one of the newer series of Star Trek.
That was what I like. He was very good in that that
Yes.
Star Trek show that my parents were watching. I would just pass it, and he's like acting his butt off.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I sat down and watched it. And I was like, I didn't care for the show, but like he sold what he was doing. So he was like an engineer or something, and he was also part of like the teleportation or the time slipping machine. It was like crazy because I was part of that arc where he had to be the one to do it. That's what I was witnessing. I was like, man,
no,
this guy.
He's had an illustrious career. Resident Alien, he was Hey, and he voiced the pet chicken in Moana. He just does this. There was a large stretch of time where he was in like every Pixar movie in some way, shape, or form. Again, King Candy and Wreck-It Ralph. Like this guy, he's gone on to have he's
Clayface.
Yes.
In the animated with Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Isn't he?
Yeah. I think he's done Clayface a couple of different times in a couple of different series, but he's just an illustrious career regardless. But think about where he could have been so much faster.
Yeah. Duke Weaselton in Zootopia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right. So while everything eventually turned out for Tudyk, that's kind of what we're painting here. Everything turned out. What do we make of this accusation from one of Hollywood's seemingly unproblematic figures? Because the thing is, too, people love Alan Tudyk. He is so unproblematic. This is not a small accusation. What do we think?
I think if we want to get into like conspiracies and Hollywood conspiracies and keeping people down versus boosting people up. I think I'm going to take the Cat Williams approach here and say Will Smith, for powers unbeknownst to us, said, nope, he's up higher than Alan here.
Yeah.
Like, I think, and like there will be arguments where he's like, oh, he didn't act, he was just the robot and he didn't do anything on screen. And it's like, well, there are behind the scenes, he was every bit of that character. You just didn't see his facial expressions because he was a robot.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, he was a robot that can feel. But I think that I'll take that approach and say there was likely somebody or multiple who are very high in Hollywood that were like, Will Smith has got to be, because this is one of the first or not, like, of Will Smith's career. He's very young. So
this was in the middle of his like stretch of where, like, after Fresh Prince, he like, this is around like is it Happiness, that film that he's in where he's, you know what I'm talking about? Like, this is like his stretch where he had very serious roles, very serious movies. He was definitely a A-lister, top of the chart type of actor. If you got him in your film, you're going to be making money. So that is, I don't know. I get it. I do.
It's actually one of his first ones, believe it or not.
Did this kick off the strip or the stretch?
So you had Showtime, which I'm not sure what that is, Ride or Die, which didn't do very well, and then I, Robot, and then he got The Pursuit of Happiness with some movies in between it, and then Hancock, and Karate Kid, and then like it keeps going from there, right?
Yeah.
So this was one of the first that we saw Will Smith, which is why I'm going to double down and say there's got to be something where he wasn't doing very well after Fresh Prince, and he, I don't know, sold his soul to the Hollywood devil or something like that. And iRobot, and they were like, he's it. Like, screw Alan. I believe Alan wholeheartedly. I think that if his name was straight up taken off of marketing material, something is afoot, right?
Yeah. I really think probably Will Smith more than likely put in a word saying, hey, this can't happen. But at the same time, I wonder if certain executives were like, we're paying all this money for this guy and he's getting outshone by a side character. Let's just remove the side character or like the name. And so that's what they did. It's again, the part that just gets me, because I'm reading this whole thing and I'm like, okay, like, I guess I can get it. That sucks. But like, Hollywood, the nomination for the best visual effects, that like, it's one thing if it's just a movie, right? It's one thing if the movie came out and no one really thought of it, it came a cult classic later and people figured out his name, right? But it was Oscar nominated. You should have that rejoice. Like, you are a big part of that. And you can't.
Man.
Like that, you see what I'm saying? Like, that bothers me to my core, because it's like, again, you should have that moment in that studio. And if Will Smith had any part in it, Will Smith, as an extension, took that away from you. Yeah, I would be upset too.
I mean, to be fair, it was almost 18 years ago, but
no, he's obviously
back up.
Yeah.
But anyway, on that note,
any final thoughts before we move on to our third and final segment?
I have none. If we wanted to make this about Paramount, they could sponsor us.
Sponsored by, no, wouldn't this be crazy if that was our ad reveal?
Dude, that'd be first sponsor, Paramount.
Sponsored by Paramount Plus.
Dude, they're going downhill quick.
That's why you should get there. Their subscriber numbers are tanking. That's why they sponsored us today, to get you to subscribe. No. Anyway, moving on from segment 2, we'll go into segment 3. So coming up after the break, Paramount's had a busy week, and we'll talk about it. James Gunn, Superman Saga, and what you should know before you go. Coming up next. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You've made it to segment 3, which, again, final 2 big notes in terms of stories, trailers, and then what you should know before you go. The fact that you've made it an hour and our goofy little haha talk show where we talk about memes and movies and just happenstances throughout media and entertainment is amazing that you're here. Amazing that you allow us to be here. And again, every week I always kind of get on my soapbox and I get emotional and sappy, but just thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to do this. Thank you for giving us an audience to discuss what we are so passionate about and allowing us to have a voice for our opinions. So thank you so much. We love you. And kind of a fast-tracked one this week. Tell your mom, tell your uncle, tell your aunt. We're extending the family slowly over the weeks. And let them know that we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. You can like, subscribe, comment all over the place. We would love to hear your opinions.
Even share it.
You could share it. No, we would love to see you back next week. We'd love to hear your opinions, and we'd love to hear what you guys want to hear us talk about. So on that note, it's time to move into our final segment. Paramount has had a busy week this past week. There it is. On that note.
That's crazy.
I have my own graphic. Do you understand the power I hold?
Whatever.
The power I hold. Jake, you don't understand how big my head is right now. For our audio listeners, Emily has made
I get it.
Emily has made a loving graphic. I'm going to ignore it. There it is, audio listeners. If you open Spotify right now and look at it, you can see that I have a quote.
If you're driving, don't care.
Do it. No, but I have my own graphic where it's not a great picture of me, but you know what? I love it. And it's got my quote because apparently I say on that note a lot, and it's kind of a thing, I guess, now. But yes, please just see it because it's a great... Emily's been on top of the graphic game. This is crazy. These are awesome.
Surprise ones, man. Jeez.
I love the surprise ones. Anyway, on that note, it's time to move into our final segment. Again, Paramount's been busy. A lot has been going on this past week, and now we're finally going to talk about the extended conversation that we were kind of alluding to in our last segment about Paramount. So, when hosting a glamorous, essentially, Q&A session with journalists in front of the home for the now-coined Paramount Skydance studio in Hollywood, new CEO David Ellison would give an inside look into how he plans to maintain his legacy franchises. He emphasized the intention of releasing theatrical exclusives, very specific theatrical, aiming to release 15 films a year at the beginning and then upping them to 20 down the line. So the goal is to get to 20 films a year at some point. Franchises of importance that co-film chief Josh Greenstein name dropped included Transformers, G.I. Joe, Terminator, Star Trek, and surprisingly, World War Z, the much divisive zombie thriller starring Brad Pitt. The 2013 film was originally set to have a sequel in 2018 with David Fincher set to direct, but many delays and a production hell led to what seemingly was going to be a permanent shelving. Now, maybe with Pitt's recent success with F1 this year, a sequel is top priority. And again, we were discussing this before the show, and it's just so funny because this dude's like the co-chief of film for a studio focusing on theatrical releases is just like, yeah, man, we're focusing hard on Transformers, G.I. Joe, Terminator, Star Trek, and World War Z. And everyone and their mom went, World War Z? What are you talking about? Yeah, they're prioritizing World War Z. A sequel is on the way. Yeah. It cracks me up that this guy is just like, he's naming legacy brand after legacy brand, big name IPs. This will get them hundreds of millions of dollars if they do it right. And then World War Z. Like, what do you... Other things that have happened this week in Paramount, because this is not the only thing that they did. They also, the rumors are going around, a live action The Last Ronin film, which was in production before Skydance's merger. It's still in the works. It seems to have survived the merger, and it will have an R rating. It will be rated R, live action. For those who don't know, The Last Ronin is one of the coolest concepts in comics ever. We don't know which turtle, which is awesome, but it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story.
What do you mean we don't know what turtle?
It is never...
There's only one turtle it should be.
It is never explicitly said which turtle. It just says one of them survived, and the thing is, he doesn't wear his color anymore. He's become the last Ronin, and he kills, and he's vengeful, and he's trying to survive in a post-Splinter and post-sibling dark world. And that's so cool, and I'm excited to see that. And lastly, the other thing that they did outside of everything we talked about already with Paramount this week, because they've been busy, UFC has struck a deal with Paramount to end pay-per-views completely for the Fighting Championship and bring them exclusively to Paramount Plus, which is not a small deal either. So, what catches your eye from these things that have gone on in Paramount? Any thoughts on the now new merged conglomerate?
I think Ryan's very excited about the Transformers double down and saying, yeah, well, we already know there's going to be a Transformers. I enjoyed G.I. Joe, at least the first movie.
Yeah.
But that's just nostalgia at that point. I don't know what they could do with Terminator. That's like that falls in line with almost World War Z to me. It's like I don't really know what else.
Where can you go?
Yeah, where can you go? And then Star Trek is going to be like the I don't know how to describe it. The TV series, right? Like they're trying their hardest with the TV series, and I didn't think that they were doing crazy well. I could be wrong if I don't have the numbers in front of me. And then World War Z, which is was there not a number 2 for that?
No. World War Z.
Just this one.
Yeah. So again, in 2018, they were gonna make a sequel with David Fincher, which David Fincher is one of the best directors of today. So that's exciting. And they could not come to a concise agreement. They could not come together, and it died. And now it's back.
Wow. Well, I'm actually most excited. Last Ronin, and it has to be Mikey. I'll just tell you all that now. It has to be. That's the point. He's supposed to be the most fun and fun loving and wholehearted and innocent, I guess, kind of. And to lose all the brothers and to see him have that fall. The fall. That's the point. Is how far it's the Hawkeye turned Ronin in the MCU, and we didn't even get to explore that one.
Yeah,
because he lost his whole family and everybody. Spoiler if you haven't seen Endgame.
it's not a spoiler.
Which he also just bounces straight back into the Hawkeye role, which is there was no time for him to be depressed. It was just an introduce to him killing people with a katana. Sorry, I'm still on Hawkeye here, but it's still very much in line as like I can't wait for this because rated R number 1, but also I think it's going to be an awesome story that we need to see on the big screen. But it's supposed to be Mikey, and he wears the colors, the masks of his brothers.
Yeah.
And yes, he has a black mask now, but like he wears all 4 of them either on his arms or on his because he uses Leonardo's katanas. Actually, he might use everybody's. I don't remember exactly. He might use everybody's weapons and has mastered all of them. I think is what it was. Or I know for sure he uses the katanas. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I think their money should be on that one. But that's just because I'm I'm knowledgeable on that film.
Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that they didn't announce which one it was, but I looked it up and they are saying it was Mikey. I thought that was the internet deciding it was Mikey. Yeah.
No, like the last Ronin comics and like the foundation of that story is Mikey, and that the reason for it is because he's fallen. He is no longer fun and happy, and I mean he's very killing.
Yeah.
I mean the turtles don't really do that.
Yeah. No, I was wrong. No, you're right. I really thought that was like an internet consensus that they decided it was Mikey because that was a cooler story. I didn't realize that was like actually confirmed in the comics. So that's my bad.
Straight up. Because it is the cooler story.
Yeah.
But no, it's that is my highly anticipated Paramount. If they shelve that, I think they'll be stupid. I think they're stupid.
Allergic to money.
Allergic to money, like actively throwing up and sneezing if they shelve that one.
No, I agree. And I mean, I guess to finish off a point I made earlier, because I wanted to do it here when we were actually discussing the other things Paramount was doing.
Yeah.
If the Redstones and the former creative team and shareholders could not make Transformers, could not make G.I. Joe, Barry, Terminator, Star Trek's doing pretty well. I won't even lie. Star Trek is doing pretty well. So I'm not even going to talk about Star Trek. But then World War Z died. If those franchises could not survive, why are you putting your hat on those same franchises? Transformers is a little different because they did the smart thing and they offshoot, like they had different, like, I don't want to call them universes because I think that term is so overblown. just because a character is in the same area as another character in two different stories, I hate the term universe because I think that's so like if the same guy made both stories, why is it shocking that they're together? Like, why is it shocking that they could interact? That universe is such an overused term. So I'm not going to use it here. But the idea of like when you see the different versions of like Optimus and Transformers, right? Like the Transformers 1 and they had like the spin-off or like the other reboots, and they're not necessarily the same as the ones before. They're not Michael Bay. Like that, they were really smart to do that because they didn't corner themselves with a certain story. They could just make it because people like those characters. And regardless, like Bumblebee completely overhauled how he got to Earth, and that was like a big deal. So it's like I think that Transformers is like one of the outliers here, outside of Star Trek, because Star Trek had never really fallen. But like of the ones that I'm like, man, you're hanging your hat on that. Yes, I'm a little biased, but I feel like they have the most opportunity there. G.I. Joe, I just don't think it works on live screen. I just don't know. Unless they do it more like Mission Impossible style, then sure it might, but they don't want to go that route because G.I. Joe's kind of, it's 80s cartoon. It's cringy a little bit. It's meant to be a little bit nostalgic, and I think that they're going to have a tough time finding an audience with that. And then Terminator and World War Z, what do you do? So I have some concerns, and I just don't necessarily like that this guy who spent billions of his father's money to get this legacy brand is saying, okay, the same things that they failed at, we're going to also hold our hat on. And it's like, dog.
Did we mention Top Gun 3 is also something that they are top priority here?
Of course. Yeah. Like, again, it's more of the same. So
Yeah.
I'm just a little concerned. Big W's for them for UFC.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, you end pay-per-views because people they complain because, again, in the world of streaming where you have to buy everything monthly, it is annoying when you want to watch your favorite sport and it's $60 per month because you're buying the new pay-per-view. So,
Well, don't even get us started on paying for all the streaming networks to watch all your favorite
yeah.
sports.
Yeah, so it's cool because like now what that does is if say you like UFC because a lot of people like multiple sports, but if your favorite sport's UFC, you pay $10 a month for Paramount and you get all the pay-per-views, which is just unheard of. So, and that's for the rest of this decade and then some. So good on them. That's what I'll say. But other than that, any final thoughts on Paramount?
Want to sponsor? Please sponsor us. No,
Don't we just look like sponsor
I don't.
people?
I don't. Yeah. No controversies here.
David Ellison, please. Anyway,
On that,
yeah. We'll move on to our last major story. We've talked about it ad nauseum. We're going to keep talking about it because he's making waves and the DC is back, baby. We have the next steps in what is being dubbed as the Superman saga, according to James Gunn himself. So, despite James Gunn's Superman just barely having exited theaters, the DCU boss is already back at the office cooking up ideas for the future of Big Blue. We know next on the big screen, we will see Supergirl, followed by the body horror Clayface. Gunn is moving quick to capitalize on the success of his first true DC outing. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Gunn states, quote, I've already finished a treatment for the next story in what I'll call the Superman saga. The treatment is done, which means a very worked out treatment. And I'm hopefully going into production on that not too far away from today. As surmised by Empire Online, the next Superman story, and I say that with air quotes, may not be straight. I mean, it may not be a straight sequel, I should say. Because what we might see is Superman being involved in another character story that just happens to loop the Big Blue in. So
in the universe, right?
In the universe.
Same universe.
DCU universe. Yeah. Again, way overblown. I think this is the one correct context for that term. But anyway, something broader is the term that people are using, is that this sequel that we will see Superman in, as in the next time we see him, will be something broader than just a straight Superman film, which you could argue was the first, because the first wasn't. There were a lot of other characters, but it was emphasized on Superman. Anyway, what we do know in this moment is that the very next story in the DCU is the second season of Peacemaker, of which Gunn is showrunner, debuted this past Wednesday in New York City. The story takes place directly after the events of the previously mentioned Superman film and sees the return of a plethora of characters, including Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Rick Flag Sr., and more. Gunn would explain how Peacemaker is a show meant for grown audience and really not for kids, but would stress the importance of audiences tuning into the John Cena-led action series, stating, quote, Superman leads into this show, and then we have the setting up of all the rest of the DCU in this season of Peacemaker. It's incredibly important, which I thought, again, was funny. He's like, this isn't meant for kids, but if your kids want to know what's happening, they probably should watch. Anyway, Gunn would continue, quote, I don't think there's anything that I've ever done that I love more than this season of Peacemaker, so I'm so excited for people to see it. Hearing this just before the release of the new season, which is later this week, how excited are we for what's next in the DCU?
I'm interested in the Rick Flag Senior participation, I guess, because I thought the way that they did it in Creature Commandos was awesome. Like I liked his character. I thought he was very gruff. Not so much. He wasn't very not remorseful, but mournful. He wasn't mournful of his son passing. It was just kind of like a died in the line of duty, or I think I don't remember him being mournful, but I think he's an interesting character if they lean in on that, because Peacemaker was the one who his son.
Yeah.
For the spoiler, and then Guy Gardner. I mean, I think he's going to be, if he isn't already, he's going to be big. I think a lot of people are going to want to see more Guy Gardner, and a hot girl included. So I'm hopeful. I think they're on the right track. Can it be called a saga if this is just Peacemaker and another film? In what constitutes a saga here? Like, let's get into semantics, man. Superman saga, and then you show a Peacemaker, and then a story without Superman leading. Like, is it the Superman saga, or are we talking about the Gunn universe? The universe, Ryan.
Overused, but in this case, again, this is the one of the few exceptions you can use that properly. I don't know.
It's you.
I don't know. I am hype. I'm excited because, again, I feel like Gunn is there's a lot of conversation when he took the job 3 or 4 years ago if he was the right person. And I feel like he's shown he is. He gets the characters, and that's what's most important, is he fundamentally understands. And a thing that we're seeing a problem with Marvel, and Emily can attest to this. We talked about this when we talked about Fantastic Four right after we saw it, was everything Marvel feels the same. Like, they have a style that they like. They have an aesthetic that they like, even if the characters don't necessarily fit that aesthetic. And they're only just now kind of breaking that with like Daredevil and Punisher after almost 2 decades of telling stories.
Those are TV series, and likely underneath different names who understand, like, this is not cinematic universe as much as it is TV series. And I know they tie in, but like, would they work as movies? I don't know, but like, I know Daredevil is a great show from way back in the first seasons, under a different name, but like the Matt Murdock character as a TV series is phenomenal. And then Punisher, John Bernthal kills it, man. You can't have anybody else play him nowadays. Like, there's not a person who plays him. But we've not gotten a Punisher movie in many years, especially not with Bernthal. So I think it's different. You say that MCU like might break that with these. It's like, not unless they hand the reins over to the people who know what they're doing, arguably.
Yeah, and I think that's what will separate DC moving forward, is because Gunn understands that not all characters need the same stereotype, and that they don't need the same style, which is cool. And we talked about that before. We don't have to go into it again, but I am excited for that because I feel like he just fundamentally understands each and every character he's talking about. I think these are different because when you think about what is leading the DCU right now, it's Mr. Terrific, it's Peacemaker, and it's Rick Flag. Like, yeah, Superman, it was their biggest guy, and he should be. But it's like, when you think about those characters, those aren't ones that would come to mind 15 years ago. So it's unique.
And I think that helps.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Being unique and not being the same dang character we see every year.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. And
Batman. Pattinson's Batman.
Ooh.
I'd see him every year.
Do we have to get into conspiracy theory again? Because
not in this universe.
Elseworlds.
On that note,
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on into our trailers. We have 4 of them for you today. That ends our major news topics. We will start with Marty Supreme, move on to Steve, starring Cillian Murphy, then The Man in My Basement with Willem Dafoe, and we will round out our 4 with Good Boy, which released today, so very new.
don't call me
First, well, first we're going to start with Marty Supreme and Timothée Chalamet.
Hello?
Hey, it's Marty Mauser. I'm in the Royal Suite. I saw you in the lobby yesterday.
Okay.
Well, I never talked to an actual movie star. You know, I'm something of a performer, too.
Are you?
Yeah.
What do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work
That
out?
doesn't even enter my consciousness.
I just think it was funny the way I edited that. It makes me smile. It's like I'm somewhat of a performer myself. It's just straight ping pong.
Yeah.
It's going hard at ping pong, man. But this looks fun, I guess. Like I don't know. Like I'm not like highly into like I want to go watch it. I'm seething to watch it, but like I think it's a fun like looking drama
Yeah.
about Marty Supreme, which I have heard nothing of. Is this made up? Is this real? Do you know?
I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing about Marty Supreme.
I think it looks really good. Timothée is gonna sell it as he has been lately. Gwyneth Paltrow, also lead in this.
How
I wonder
old? She has got to be like 30 years his senior.
It's fine.
52 and
It's whatever. She
he's
looks great.
he's 29 and she's 52.
She looks great
Okay.
in this. I hope he knows about that candle. Those of you at home, if y'all know about the candle, I won't elaborate. Ryan, do you know about the
I
candle?
do. I'm not talking about her weird side ventures. Gwyneth Paltrow is an interesting character.
She has her own candle, guys. Don't look it up. But I
So
don't know.
the reason he's playing ping pong is because Marty Supreme is inspired by, but not a direct adaptation of the life of real life table tennis player Marty Reisman. So they okay. This is actually really funny because they were like, okay, guys, it's inspired by. We can't name him the same thing. What are we calling him? And they just were like, what if we change his last name? And that's all they did. The guy that inspired this story is also named Marty. Like, come on. Okay, so Marty Reisman he's a champion table tennis player and author. He was in the 1958 and 1960 U.S. men's singles champion and the 1997 U.S. hard bat champion. He passed away. Sorry, I didn't know that.
Well, they can't say anything. about the name now.
2012. He's been gone for 13 years. He
And he had the hots for a actress
I don't know.
and was betting on ping pong to be. the
I
next
feel
big
he's
sport or
had
whatever.
to have a crazy life.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think you're right. Going back to the actual film, it does look funny. It does look fun. I just don't. I feel like I've kind of got to the point with Chalamet that everything he does is the same. Like, is that unfortunate? Like, is that wrong?
I mean, you're gonna say that this is anywhere close to the feeling of Dune?
no, that's the one outlier. No, you got me there. That is the one outlier.
All
But
right.
all I'm saying is like, okay, go down his or filmography though.
Dude, the Wes Anderson French Dispatch. Is that the same guy? I don't think it is.
Recently, so I'm gonna go down his most recent, a complete unknown, Call Me by Your Name, Wonka, Beautiful Boy. Like, these are just Marty Supreme.
Bob Dylan? Come on.
It's just Timothée Chalamet just continuously playing himself as other characters. Like, I don't know. Like, Dune is his best work. He does great. Like, I'm not like, and I will say, Little Women is fantastic. Little Women is fantastic. Like, there are things like he was barely in Interstellar. I've not seen Bones and all. So it's like there are things that he is really good at, and like he is a talented actor. I'm not trying to say he's not, but there are certain movies that I see of his recently, like A Complete Unknown, Marty Supreme. Like just there are things that I'm just like, man, like or Wonka. The last 3 he's done outside of Dune is Wonka, A Complete Unknown, and Marty Supreme, and it's just Timothée Chalamet.
What about the King?
That was
I
before.
don't know. I saw a recent edit of the King.
I don't know.
His pose was so hard in a photo behind the scenes that they made it the movie poster.
It's just every time that I see his movie, and if it's not Dune, he's just like that's just him the whole time. And come on.
Okay, arguably the same for Tom Holland. The boyish good looks.
Don't get me started. We have been over this.
So, I don't know if they're the same, if not, I hold Timothée higher than I do Tom Holland, but I think they're in the same regards. They play the same guy. Like if you swap them out for each role, like I think you could do that. I think Tom could play Marty Supreme. You know, like I think these guys
you're right.
going after the same roles. I bet they see each other at auditions.
Well, apparently Chalamet did audition for Spider-Man.
See?
Yeah.
Emily says Pedro is also in, or he acts the same in everything he is in. So
the one thing he did differently is The Last of Us, and he did great. But other than that, I am so on board with that because he does.
Yeah. But he wasn't anxious.
This is what I'll say, because you brought up a good conversation piece, and that might be just like a special segment we have one day, is like we pick actor versus actor and we decide.
Ooh.
I think, and Emily's gonna be like, "Oh, really?" I think Holland's better than Chalamet, to be honest with you. I do.
Put Holland in Dune. See if he.
I don't think it's the
Emily
same
says, "Oh, really?"
It's not the same conversation. I don't think it's the same. It's not like if you put Chalamet as 007, I have the same critiques. I don't think he looks.
I would agree because I don't think the character's right.
But the point
I don't
I'm
think
saying,
Tom can uphold Dune.
I think he could. I don't know why. I think he could. I think he would he do
have to be a segment.
would he do as well as Chalamet? Maybe not, but I think he could do fine. I don't necessarily.
No.
I kind of like Holland more than Chalamet.
Whoa.
He
Okay,
says.
so if it, sorry folks at home, we're gonna get off in a little bit. If it came down,
Don't
to
ask me this
007,
question. Don't ask me
who
this
you
question.
putting
I'm
in?
not answering. Neither of them. I hope they both lose.
Coach.
Nah, I hope they both lose. Neither of them.
Emily says your PR guy told you to say that.
Literally no one. Nobody.
Crazy, bro. You got to cast somebody.
They're not gonna be one if I'm casting director. No 007.
Who's gonna womanize the woman?
Give me Idris Elba. There you go.
Just throw him under the. He's gonna do it.
He's not even at the audition.
No. It's like you get to be the slob.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't ask me that question because I'm not answering it. But I say Idris Elba as a joke.
This episode
of Beyond the Screen. No, I say that as a joke because Idris Elba is the one everyone else wants. So I'm not being serious with that. But also, I'm not answering that question because neither of them. But I do think
got Aaron Taylor Johnson for that.
Maybe. But that's a further discussion. But either way, that has to be a topic one day. That has to be a segment where we discuss actor versus actor and we just dissect their filmography and say who we think's better, because that is a fun topic. And I do think Tom Holland is better than Timothée Chalamet. I don't know why. I don't know why my gut, like why I feel that way. I just think so. Methinks.
We're gonna have to do an actor binge to do that. We'll have to watch the whole filmography of each.
I'm okay with that. That'd be fun.
Because I mean, and we're hashing out ideas here, but arguably you could swing back and forth, right?
I have another good one that we could do if we don't. Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy.
Are they? I don't see them going to the same auditions.
They just look at some of the roles. Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders could easily have been Tom Hardy.
Possibly, yeah, but I don't think Cillian could have done Venom.
See, this is the discussion. This is the segment.
Oh man.
Either way,
So,
we're off here. Yeah.
Cillian.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Hey, what a great good job, Jake. The next trailer is Steve with Cillian Murphy.
These are extraordinarily complex young people.
Stevie Dick.
This is the thing, you can't just casually call me a dick.
Outside. Out mind. Outside. Out mind. Out time. Out love. Outside. Out mind. Out time. Out love. Outside. Out mind. Out time. Out love. Outside. Out mind. Out time. Out love.
Steve. I am Steve. Go for it, Jake. You had an opinion about this.
I think the troubled teacher or troubled students idea for a movie has been done before in different flavors, fonts. I would say, I guess, same thing, different font. So my first example of this, actually, I pulled it from South Park, where Cartman acts as a teacher for troubled youth, trying to get them to learn how to pass a test by cheating, which is a direct parody from Stand and Deliver from 1988 with Edward James Olmos as Jamie Escalante. And so logline for this is the story of Jamie Escalante, a high school teacher who successfully inspired his dropout prone students to learn calculus. I'm not like, arguably there's a goal for this. I mean, it's 1988. It's going to be a 1988 film. Like, it's definitely very different from today's films.
Yeah.
However, it's that dropout prone student, awful, it's just the difference here with Cillian's character Steve is that he is troubled. Like that's the take of this one. And then I'll bring in one of the GOATs, I think, Adrian Brody. He did one in the same light that wasn't as popular. I think it's very good. It's a very good movie. You should go watch it if you have the time. Adrian kills it. All the other actors in it. Lucy Liu's in it.
Oh wow, really? Which
So
film is
it's
this?
called Detachment.
Oh, okay.
From 2011. Adrian Brody is a substitute teacher who drifts from classroom to classroom, finds a connection to the students and teachers during his latest assignment, which is with the dropout prone or the ne'er-do-wells, and it does follow him and almost in his depression, but trying his best to also bring these kids up. And I think he ultimately arguably fails. Like, this is a tragedy.
Yeah.
So same thing, different font, I would argue here with Steve. There's got to be something else, and that would be the reason to watch Steve. If you've seen Stand and Deliver from 1988 and you've seen Detachment, which arguably unlikely that you've seen either, which is probably why Steve is coming out now, that it's been a long enough time between Stand and Deliver and not a lot of people know about a Detachment, that you can come out with Steve and still be successful with this storyline. But to those who know better, this is not the first type. I think to those who know better, Steve has got to have some pretty deep-seated baggage, and or what is the goal that Steve is like after? Like, is it to get these kids into college, get these kids into jobs? Is it for himself to survive and not either ultimately end his life, or like, I don't know the extent of his mental trauma. I'm not sure what the character is all about. I just know that he is going through something based on the trailer, and you should go watch the full one, because it the way that I edited, I did not focus on the students as much, whereas there is a student that plays a key role in this film alongside Cillian. So there's something there, but the trope is the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and to add another story to that, Dead Poet Society. I mean, it's just it's another one that's like that. Obviously, that is a much more, in some elements, uplifting, and other elements more traumatic. Oh, Captain, My Captain. I love that film so much. But that's, you talk about the troubled kids and like the teacher and the troubled teacher, if you will. that's also can be applied to Dead Poet Society as well as
Then
Detachment.
what was the one that recently, very recently, came out with the teacher with the lazy eye? Um,
I
they
don't.
was they the student had to stay over the winter with
Oh, you're talking about that was Paul Paul Giamatti, and it was where it was Christmas. That one was
yeah,
the
yeah,
Holdovers.
the holdovers. So arguably the teacher with some disparaged children or child, young adult actually. I mean, I think he was fairly older. It was like a not a boarding school, but so Dominic Sessa,
Yep.
Sessa, yeah, and but I would argue that that one's not quite the same, but still in the same breadth of troubled teacher, troubled student. They actually end up working together, so that
Yeah.
storyline is a little different. But
But
I
all
don't know. Like
different
I
fonts.
like Cillian in this. I think it will be another like badge on his shirt or on his sleeve or however the saying goes. But I'm not going to say that this is new, groundbreaking, um, extra special in my mind. It really matters on the whole arc of his character. I think that's the new thing, and if they lean on that, they might have something good.
Yeah.
Story wise.
I agree. And I'll leave it there, and we'll go ahead and move on. We got 2 more trailers for you. The third trailer we have for you today is The Man in My Basement.
Mr. Charles Blakey,
Yeah, I'm Blakey.
I have it in mind to rent your basement for a couple of months.
Won't anyone be wondering about you?
Does anybody wonder about you, Charles? We all disappear sometimes, right?
Oh,
It looks fun to me.
hey, if Dafoe knocks on your door asking to rent your basement that you don't have,
I'm
you
something
saying
of
no?
I'm something of a landlord myself. He can have it.
Oh man, you don't want me as a landlord.
Oh no, I don't. You're very right.
I'm evil.
But no, this one was one that I had not really a lot of backstory coming in. I kind of just saw it today. Like I knew about Marty Supreme, I knew about Steve, and I knew about Good Boy, but I didn't know a lot about the Man in My Basement. So I kind of went in right now to this a little blind, other than I knew it was Willem Dafoe. So I can say that I am intrigued because it seems like a good thriller. I love thrillers. So I'm interested. I don't really know what else to say other than what is just obvious. It's just like why is he in the basement? What's he doing? Like
I think there's got to be some kind of level of crazy, not supernatural, but like level of Defoe's crazy, man. He's got something going on. Those masks got to mean something.
what if Dafoe never existed and Corey Hawkins'
Ooh.
character? Yeah. That
Ghost.
or maybe not ghosts. The guys just like because you talk about like we all disappear. What if like Hawkins' character? He is disappear like he's gone and he's just imagining these things.
I don't know, man. I don't know where you're getting that.
I'm just saying like that could be a way it's going because like this guy shows up out of nowhere. He
Yeah.
can't like it's just to rent his basement and it's just
Yeah.
randomly Willem. You know what I mean? Like I could just see that being something that they want to do to like as like a it's like a mind thing, like as a thriller.
There was a shot in the full trailer that like it holds on his business card for a while, and I didn't get the significance out of the name or what he did. It was like an investment group, and the character that Defoe's plays is the names on the card, and I'm like, am I supposed to know the significance behind the name and the investment group?
Yeah.
But Emily says in the chat, for Willem Dafoe, I'd do anything. Which, sure, fair
We do
enough.
love no, listen, she's right though. We love Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, like when I think of Willem Dafoe, I love thinking back on when he did the fit check, and he was like, yeah, he wasn't really dripped out, but he was fitted
Yeah.
with like his beanie and like some kind of coat, and it was just like, and he was just going through it. Some random guy on the street asked him, "Was like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing?"
And he was just hype. He was happy.
Yeah, he was chill.
What was the quote he said? He was like, someone asked him when they knew, or like, what was the moment you knew you were like, you've made it? And he was like, when he was on the subway and some random person he heard across the way said, no one else has a face like that. And they were talking about him, like, that's got to be him. And I just think that's
Wow.
so funny. Like, and it's
I don't know
only,
if I want people to say that about me.
but I mean, it is Willem Dafoe. You know what I mean? That's just like, that's like what it
Yeah,
is.
well, arguably he's got a better face than I do. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. So,
Yeah.
are you looking up the
No-
business card?
I'm trying to find it, but I don't want to take too much time. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and move on to our last trailer, Good Boy.
Dude,
Oh boy! Now
when
let me-
I edited this thing, I didn't want to, man. Like that's how much like it's good. Like if this is like, so tell the synopsis, like the reason why we're following a dog.
Okay, so let me tell you something, because the way that I feel about this film, it's one of those things where it's like, why didn't I think of that? Because what do people say about dogs and babies is that they could see things that we can't, right? Like their senses, like just that idea of like, oh yeah, the dog's barking at something in the corner and there's nothing there and it's freaky. Like that stuff. Like the idea that no film until now has followed that trope and gone to the lengths to try to tell that story is absurd that we're just now getting it. But like, I love, and for those who heard it, you definitely heard what I'm about to talk about. But for those who watched it, you'll know what I mean when I refer to it. The sound, the ambiance, the way the loudness of the gnat sound makes the room feel so big. Like you are from the dog's perspective. The whole point of the movie, it's called Good Boy because you're following the dog as he watches his owners get haunted. So the dog is seeing the haunting happening from the dog's perspective. And so it's just, oh, and so like that concept is so cool, and the way that the trailer does it is so perfect because it's like, again, like you see the things that the dog's barking at, and like I am so excited because again, it's just the ambiance was perfect in the trailer. If the whole film's like that, I'm not only am I going to be unnerved, I'm going to be freaked out, and I'm going to be excited. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, dude, for somebody who doesn't like horror, like, and it's not that I can't handle like The Conjuring, and it's not like that I can't handle them. It's I don't like the feeling it gives me. Like,
Yeah.
It's not that I can't handle it. It's just I don't like the elevated heart rate and the jump scares or whatever. It's just not my cup of tea. This one, I cannot handle it. Like the way that the story is told, I genuinely I had to turn around.
Yeah.
Because it made me feel like something was behind me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching the full trailer, if you guys are into horror, the sound design of this with the dog's noises and the gnat sound and the loud, the banging, like it puts you into the paws of an animal going through this. They are infinitely more aware, and it puts you in those paws. Like you are infinitely more aware of the noises and the sounds that are happening within this house. And go watch the full trailer if you can stomach it, if you're into horror, because this is going to be one to watch, I think.
I just love everything about it. The concept is just so cool. And
Next we'll do a bird.
It's the same thing, but it's just
Yeah. And then for the prequel, we'll do a turtle.
Can you imagine like a pet, like a guinea pig or a pet pig or something? Just
a hamster would just straight die.
yeah. End of movie. It's a short film. Yeah. Anyway, that concludes our trailers. Of the trailers, Good Boy is my most excited one. I think. Jake, which one was yours?
of all of them that like are more up my alley, it's Steve.
Yeah.
Just because I enjoy Detachment so much, like that. It's not a comfort movie, but like I think about it more often than I would like. And it's weird because it's so underground, but I think Steve has the opportunity to be that for some people.
Yeah. And we're going to round out our show and allow you guys to finally go home because you've been here for almost 2 hours. What you
Whoa.
should know before you go, our final thoughts of the
hobby.
day.
Sorry.
Yeah, get a hobby, he says. But the biggest reason why this segment exists is there's more than just the 4 things in the trailers we've talked about going on in any given week. So we give you the 4 to 6 major stories that don't necessarily need that big of a deep dive. We'll give them to you in quick hit fashion. So I'll read them back to back to back, maybe give a little bit of input in the middle, and then we'll go back and talk about the 1 or 2 that excited us the most. So we'll start with YouTube, as they are looking to purchase the rights to the Oscars away from ABC after more than 50 years on the American Broadcasting Corporation, which is crazy. According to Sir Ian McKellen, Frodo Baggins will return in the new Lord of the Rings The Hunt for Gollum film, Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas to return for Disney's Camp Rock 3. Hayden Christensen said he would happily return to Star Wars as Darth Vader if, quote, the powers that be decided a Vader spinoff is something they wanted to see. Crazy sentence, but we'll talk about it, I'm sure. First looks at Greta Gerwig's new Narnia adaptation sees a post-World War II 1950s backdrop as opposed to the source material from the 1900s, which it was, I think, in the year 1900 exactly is when C.S. Lewis's original tale took place. And The Backrooms has started filming, as I saw that earlier today. I think, Jake, you added that at the very, or was it Emily? Yeah.
I just thought that was something that it is moving forward.
Yeah.
I thought that was just something that we just mentioned. Just like, yo, we weren't pulling your chain. There's this weird internet phenomenon that is actively being filmed now. So, and if I had to, I got so much to say, not really so much to say, but I could touch on each of these topics here. So number one, YouTube, with the Oscars, wasn't there like already a level of, they were not happy that something didn't make it into the Oscars, or maybe it was another award ceremony
the Hulu problem with the streaming and the ending of it and cut early, and I'm pretty sure that it overran its time and its block went into the next show could be the problem.
I thought there was a level of YouTube wanting to be involved, or I'm not sure. Sorry, sorry, folks. I'm blanking on this, but like YouTube and/or people on YouTube were not allowed to be in an award show of some sort because they were not deemed eligible because YouTube was not like a necessary form of media.
Yeah,
but I don't know if this was the Oscars.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it was. They got cut from. Was it not the Emmys that YouTubers?
Maybe it was the Emmys.
YouTubers weren't allowed to participate or be nominated because technically they weren't part of. I think you're right. I think that was something that happened recently.
So, but YouTube looking to purchase the rights to the Oscars is crazy. Also, they better not paywall that thing, because this last year that we tried to watch the Oscars, man, got booted off. Like literally was on it for free, and then they booted it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. Was it on YouTube or
it was on Hulu?
They shut down broadcast on everything. But if you didn't have ABC, sucks. So I hope YouTube can make some headway on that, and they better not put it behind a paywall, because I think the Oscars shouldn't be something you pay. It's like the Super Bowl. Like everybody's watching the Oscars, put a bunch of cool ads on there, put movie trailers, do everything you can, treat it like the Super Bowl. Don't put it behind a paywall, which I guess is the Super Bowl behind a paywall too.
Yeah, you have to buy it. No, but you're right though. I completely agree, because if that many advertisers are going to throw that much money at you, why would you not make it more affordable? But
why charge the people?
But because you could make more money. Because you could make more money.
But arguably Super Bowl too, right?
No, yeah, you're right.
I think that's a good take, even though I was wrong to begin with. You do have to pay for the Super Bowl, unfortunately. Anyway, moving on. What the heck does Sir Ian McKellen know about Frodo Baggins returning? He didn't even play Frodo Baggins. I thought that was funny.
No, but he played Gandalf.
Right. I just thought it was, according to Gandalf, Frodo Baggins will return. I'm
If anyone is telling me that Frodo's coming back, it will be Gandalf.
Look, I trust him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I thought it was funny to point out that as like the guy who doesn't play Frodo Baggins says Frodo Baggins is gonna come back.
I love the idea that it's like, well, are you sure? Are you sure you could trust? It's like, dude, I trust Gandalf.
Straight from Gandalf.
I trust Gandalf. That I love it.
I was not big on Camp Rock. I can pass over that one unless Ryan has anything to say about it.
My only
Interesting.
yeah, interesting. No, my only thoughts on Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas's comments when they say Camp Rock, I just see that really cringy. They're all like shuffling, going Camp Rock, and they're counting or they're like clapping. You know what I mean? That's all I see. Anytime anyone, I was not a Camp Rock kid either. Anytime anyone references that film, all I hear is Camp Rock, and then like shuffle it over. I hate it. So anyway,
I think there's so much potential with a Darth Vader spinoff because of the time frame between when he became Darth Vader and when spoiler was defeated by Luke. And well, not really defeated, but like kind of defeated, but like it wasn't a spoiler. I straight up lied to you. But dude, there's so the stories there, the mournful, like the death of his wife, where he still visits her mausoleum, the crusades he has against these rebel planets, like there's story, and it's story that people want to see on the big screen or at the very least through a TV series. That I think what you said is was funny. The way you said it is if the powers that be decided a Vader spinoff is something they wanted to see, like the powers that be matter.
yeah,
Which they do, but not in the sense of something they wanted to see, because it's not the powers that be who need to be deciding on what they want to see. It's what everybody else wants to see.
yeah.
So just the way he worded that is very funny and likely very true as to how decisions are made by the powers that be. Is like, well, we don't care about the last Ronin, or we don't care about a Vader spinoff, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, you're an idiot.
I do.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's really the only one I had comments on was the Darth Vader one. And the only thing I'll add to what you said, because you put it eloquently, is, and that I agree with every word. I just want to add a little more to it because it depends on what legend story you want to tell. If you don't want to tell something original, Vader many a time tried to overthrow Palpatine and have his own apprentice. One of those
he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, one of his apprentices is a guy named Starkiller, which is a
video games.
Such a cool character. Who,
Yep.
if you power, like if you restrict his powers, because in the game you're a video game, so you make him OP, right? But if you like make him like you shift his powers to being, I don't want to say realistic, but feasible for that reality.
Yeah,
he'd be fun to watch, and it'd be awesome. Yeah. So that's all I'll say. All I'll add is there were so many opportunities to tell so many fun stories, because in that 18, 19 years before Luke came along, Vader wasn't doing nothing.
Right. He was active, man, and he was there were times where he was trying to upgrade his suit, because like Anakin pod race, like he's not, and he was building droids, like he was actively trying to repair his suit, and like Palpatine finds out and punishes him and things like that. Like there are so many different things to talk about, even if it's just the one series or the one movie. You can touch on so many different things and fan service the crap out of it.
Think about a man in dismay who cannot overcome the one person who put him there. Because if you remember her again, I'm pretty sure this is in Legends too. His suit is designed to keep him in pain and to restrict his power, because Palpatine knows.
Be angry.
Yeah, well, angry, but Palpatine knows he's stronger. So if he makes his one weakness his strength, i.e. Palpatine's lightning versus Vader's one weakness also lightning, because he's all tech, and you say, okay,
which could have been fixed with the proper suit. It was by design.
Yeah,
that he was susceptible to lightning strike.
Yes, so you're always in pain. You're susceptible to my greatest strength, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
like you were strong enough to carry out my will, but you're weak enough that you have to bend to my power. Like that think about the mental turmoil that would put someone through after you've lost your wife, after you lost your kids, after your best friend cut your legs off. Like, so like, yeah, I'm there. I'm here. You didn't have to sell me, but I'm sold.
But the fact is, nobody's selling that, Ryan. You can't even buy it because it doesn't exist. Go read a book.
That's how I know
That's-
most of
that's
my
literally
stuff I
how
do.
you're gonna have to get that story.
Oh, legends, how I
With
love
your
you.
permission, we can move on to the Narnia adaptation, which the only thing I have to say about that is I saw images of the Harry Potter taken from the I believe the 90s. So they're telling the Harry Potter series in the 1990s, I believe, and so the photos look great.
Yeah.
And I think I saw Hagrid and Harry, and looked great. I know Nick Frost, and we had our opinions on Nick Frost, but towering over Harry. Now Harry's young. I mean, he's very short, but towering over him. So it was nice to see that. But in terms of Narnia, the adaptation being post World War II, I look forward to like seeing the new look. Aslan's a woman, as we know, so that's going to be like, I think it's a welcome change. I think it's something that'll be cool.
Yeah.
And that's all I really have to say about that. It's just like I like seeing different time like frames when the same story being told. If you tell it a little bit different, definitely.
Yeah.
But like that adds to the uniqueness of it, is trying to tell the same story in a new light, as well as a new time not timeline, but time frame, I guess is the best way to put it. And then Backrooms has started filming.
Yeah. No, and I think it's cool because how will a post World War II setting influence and change the character's decisions in the story?
Yeah.
Will he still fall for Turkish delight?
I don't know. Do they like people from Turkey post World War II?
And that is a great way to end our show. Thank you so much for being here. Emily did a great job as always. Thank you for being a part of what we do and then giving your opinions on Fantastic Four. Jake, you are loved, and thank you for giving your opinions and walking us through those trailers.
Even though they were very bad and poorly executed.
No, they were great. And thank you for being here for as long as you have been, because 2 hours is a long time and we really appreciate it. We will see you guys next week on Beyond the Screen. Goodbye.